Hey everyone, this will be a channeled message and reading for you for your highest good in this very safe and divine loving space. So please come on in, make yourselves nice and comfy, and let's go ahead and let's get started. So what I've actually done for today's reading is I have done a Celtic cross spread, a little remix of the traditional tarot spread. And I've done it with tarot cards as well as with oracle cards, just for further clarity. So for every tarot card, I went ahead and pulled an oracle as well. And the oracle deck that I'm using is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit by Kim Krans, one of my favorites. And so I want to get straight into it. We're going to read a couple messages from the book as we go along, and you're going to start to see some of the themes. And then after that, we will pull some additional oracle cards, get some archangel energy in here, and see what else comes up and gets channeled throughout. So the very first card in this spread represents your present position. It's where you are right now when you're finding this video. Now keep in mind that these videos are always timeless. So this can be the day, the minute that I post the video, or it could be 10 years later. It does not matter. Whenever this video has found you and my energy of what I'm reading has attracted and magnetized you through the law of resonance with your energy and the law of attraction, that is the exact moment when this applies to you, okay? I felt called to just explain that because I just want you guys to know that these readings are always timeless. So the present position, whenever you find this video, on the oracle side, we have the Camel reversed coming out. And on the tarot side, we have the Three of Swords. So the Camel, let's talk about the Camel. In its upright position, the Camel is known to be a very resourceful, a very independent animal, an animal who kind of knows who they are, and they have this inner reserve, this wellspring of resources. They can literally handle anything. They can be, submersed or kind of thrown into very harsh conditions. Conditions of the desert and extreme heat, and of course this represents in our life situations of extreme heat that are tough, even just situations that really test us. It could also be like actual financial instability, which does point to a lack of physical financial resources, but it's any sort of harsh conditions, even emotional as well. And typically the camel knows how to remain very calm and to look inward for what it needs. Now, when the camel comes out in reverse, this is pointing to a situation, along with the Three of Swords, a situation that, first and foremost could just represent heartbreak. Like, that is truly what the Three of Swords represents. It could be in a romantic relationship, but it could also just be any sort of just disappointment, just like some situation in your life could have broken your heart, so to speak, or kind of crushed you is the energy that I'm getting. And you might be feeling, at this moment, like you're not strong enough to handle what's coming up. Like you don't have the vitality, the strength, the resources, like I said, to really handle these challenges that are coming up for you. Now, the next card here represents what is crossing you. And what's crossing you can either be positive or in its shadow aspect. So in these challenging conditions that you feel that you don't have the inner reserves. By the way, the camel coming out reversed, as simple as this is, could also represent like actually being dehydrated. When I see a camel, I always get the message of like, oh, drink some water. So as simple as it sounds, you may want to like literally go grab a glass of water and drink it, and that might just calm down like energetically any of the excess heat in your body. You might just be lacking like physical nourishment through water. Another thing with the camel, because of its relation to water, water represents our emotional realm. And with that Three of Swords in card coming out as well, it's almost like this might be specifically about not feeling like you're emotionally resilient or emotionally strong enough to handle or go through or come out on the other side of whatever's happening in your life right now. The camel in reverse could also just signify that you might need to connect more with water. You may need to connect more with your emotions. A lot of the other cards here are showing me that there's sort of resistance to solo time or to, connecting with your emotions. So that could be huge. And then also, with that connection to water, the camel's representing here the Sacral Chakra. That's our second chakra. And that's our center of creativity. That's that bright orange color. But when I see that camel coming out, it's almost like when the chakra is a little bit out of harmony, out of balance, and it becomes this kind of a rusty, darker orange, almost like a dirty orange color. And that's what I'm really seeing here with the camel. It's like this dried up, lacking passion, lacking vigor, lacking creativity. Depression could be a big one. Of course, this could be, on a larger scale, like a more long-standing issue. But you just feel with that Three of Swords and that camel reverse, you just feel like life is really just getting at you right now with a certain aspect. And I want you to know that you are strong enough. And I see this in the next card coming out. So for the next card, the card that crosses you, again, this could really be your ally if you lean into this. We have the Spider card coming out, and the Spider, I'm going to read it from the book, but the Spider is really a card, if you think about it, they're weaving this web. It's a very creative card. It's about, this web of life, using all of your resources in that web. And working kind of very methodically. The way that spiders create their webs is a very methodical process. You could see this card is beautiful because it has this whole colorful arrangement of the colors here, and it's like they're all connected. It's a very powerfully creative, very divinely feminine card, a card of creativity. Another thing with the spiders is, if you think about it, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about it like this, but how many times do people, like humans or probably other animals as well, or maybe even wind, do they walk through these webs, spider webs that took days and days and days for the spiders to build, days of work, and we just walk through, or, maybe sometimes we've even purposely seen a spider web and kind of taken it down because we don't want it around or whatever it is. But think about it, that's like a spider's life's work. They were working. Imagine building a house and somebody comes with a hammer and sort of just knocks it down. And so think about how resilient a spider has to be to just get right back on there and continue from the beginning, rebuilding that web. And I actually remember researching that this one time because I had this thought of oh my gosh, how often do spiders have to rebuild their webs? And it was so often. So, if you're facing any sort of quote unquote failure in your life, or someone has metaphorically knocked down your house, if you want to call it that, or something that you've been working on, and you feel very heartbroken or crushed by that, well, this card is showing up to tell you to keep working and to keep creating that prosperity through the web that you're weaving. Now, I want to go ahead and just read this description from the book because, in the Celtic cross spread, there's that one card that I just read that comes out sideways. And the way that I read cards is when a card is sideways, it's so powerful for us. We have the ability, right, for the card to either flip one way, to flip upright, or in reverse when it's sideways. And so when it crosses us, I just feel that there's so much power in this spider animal spirit right now. And so I want to read it from this book. So the spider creates prosperity through life, through its life's work, through its Dharma. And here's the description. So the spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us that creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented. And soon your work, or what you consider your work, becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry, and abundance follows. So when the spider's in balance, in its balanced position, it's very appreciative, enthusiastic, and of course prosperous from that Dharma. When out of balance, the spider easily gets discouraged, tired, or forlorn. And to bring into balance, kind of the medicine, I like to call it, that's being offered by the spider animal spirit, is some playful creativity. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the bottom card here because it's going to relate to this message quite a bit. The next card in the spread is the Beaver reversed, and the Beaver reversed just talks about feeling useless, worn out, tired, and so it's very much a similar message, just like the spider, because the medicine of playful creativity can help both the Beaver and the spider, or I should say the Beaver in reverse as well as the spider. I also want to go back to the tarot for a second and just show you the second card. So that's the crossing card that came out on the tarot side of this. And that's the Two of Swords. And of course, the Two of Swords, it can represent in its shadow aspect sort of this stalemate, not wanting to make a decision, not being able to make a decision, a lot of maybe confusion, or just really feeling stuck. I'm getting this energy of stuck. And I'm almost seeing that like the Two of Swords, she's kind of has these swords and she's right in the middle of a web and she feels like she's completely stuck in there. And if she would just take those two swords that she has in either hand and just do one of those. Now, again, I'm not recommending that we go around and smash spiders' homes, but she could be in one of two positions. Number one, she could possibly get out of her current situation. And number two could be that wrecking of the home that we were talking about. So there's a real interplay happening between these two cards where it's like, which is it going to be? Are you going to use your swords to get out of your situation? Or are you going to use those swords to sort of break the you know, the camel's back, if you want to call it that, but sort of tire yourself out, break something that you've been working on for a while. Now take that as you will, take that as it resonates. The other thing that I wanted to mention about the spider, you know, when I do my own cleansing of my aura, right? The aura is like this energetic field of energy that surrounds every single one of us. I often like to think of it as a spider's web because it just helps me visualize, like, you know, a lot of people think that auras are just air and sort of this light energy, which is fantastic if you have a lighter kind of airier aura. But what happens with our aura is you can really actually compare it to a spider's web. It has this stickiness about it. Things often get stuck in our aura. Energies get kind of lodged in there. And like I said, it has this stickiness. And so when I'm doing a visualization of cleansing my aura, I'll often actually imagine and do like a visualization that there's kind of like a spider's web, a web of all my experiences thus far that are hanging out in my aura, kind of, you know, seemingly in thin air, but really they're stuck in these positions. Some of them maybe I want, maybe it's knowledge I've gained and that's something I want in my aura, and so I'll leave it there. But with the other energies, you know, maybe that I've picked up along the way that are not serving me, well, that visualization of a spider's web almost makes me feel like I can pull it out. And so that might be like aura cleansing, might be something that you're being called to do with the cards that are coming out. Now, let's move on. So I already showed you the bottom card. This is sort of the foundation. Where is all of this coming from? This whole situation with the camel and the spider and the Three of Swords and the Two of Swords. Where did all of that come from? And that's the Beaver in reverse. And as I already mentioned, the Beaver in reverse is about feeling worn out, feeling tired. The Beaver is a very hard worker when it's upright. And it's a very kind of loyal, tirelessly working animal. But there's sort of this energy of feeling useless and feeling very worn out and lacking vitality and inspiration and energy and, you know, just the what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of that word. Persistence. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Spirit. But the persistence to kind of keep working, and especially as it relates to maybe providing for one's family. The beaver is very much about family first. So there could be this energy within you where it's like you have these responsibilities and duties to take care of those around you, but you just feel like you're lacking the reserves right now. And you know, the beaver is all about kind of long-standing projects. So this could be something that has recently fallen through, or that you're just like, you feel like it's going nowhere. You've been working on it for a while. And along with that spider imagery, it's almost like you feel like that lacking of vitality. And on the tarot side, for that bottom card, we have the Justice card coming out upright. So I think there's something here with that beaver in reverse and that Justice card of feeling like, you know, pushing forth with some sort of project, maybe even a relationship, but some sort of scenario in your life is the right thing to do. It's the just thing to do. Yet it feels so difficult because you feel like you can't go any further with a certain project. And so this brings us to our recent past. So the next card is going to represent the recent past. I'm thinking like even the past week, just this energy that's really been weighing on you and weighing you down in some ways. Well, it doesn't have to be weighing you down, but in this case it is. And for that card we get, and just something that's really affecting those other cards that I've just shown you, especially that Camel reverse, the spider, and the Three of Swords and Two of Swords, right? And that's the Crocodile in reverse. So the Crocodile, oh, and then on the tarot side, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And these cards work very well together because the crocodile is a wait and watch kind of an animal. It stays very submerged, and then, you know, when it's the moment, when it kind of collects all of its energy, waits and waits and waits, and then when it's ready, it just, you know, emerges and grabs its prey and then goes back into like resting and hiding. And it's also an energy of sort of lurking and waiting under the surface, that kind of energy. And the Knight of Pentacles is also a card of sort of, it's not a waiting energy necessarily, but it's a very slow growing energy. It's the only, you know, knight who's not moving on his horse, and he's kind of standing there. It's a very slow, there's a lot of patience required, a lot of dutiful routine for this particular card. Sorry, I'm literally seeing another crocodile in my mind's eye right now, and I'm like, what? It looked like it was in my house. That was wild. I think I'm being called to kind of go back to the crocodile and to read it from this book. Thank you, Spirit. So let's go ahead and do that. That was wild. That literally looked like it was coming at me right now. Okay. So the crocodile, this is from the guidebook. The crocodile reminds us to step back from the external world and turn inward. Now is not the time for decisions, action, or discussion. The crocodile's mantra is wait. This doesn't mean lying around hoping life's challenges will disappear. The crocodile is much smarter than that. It means intentionally withdrawing, gathering our awareness, and observing and building energy. Fill up the vital reserves so your next move comes from a place of wisdom and power. Now, when in balance, the crocodile is wise, patient, and here's the key words, a silent powerhouse. When out of balance, the crocodile animal spirit feels very stuck and lashes out. Now remember, we did get this card in the reverse position, so that's referring to the out of balance aspects of the crocodile. So this is what it's representing, is the feeling of being stuck and then lashing out. And so what I'm getting with this, it's almost like, because this is in the past, it's almost like you worked. You maybe, like I said, it doesn't have to be like in your actual work, but it's toward a project, toward a relationship, but you put a lot of, maybe a creative project is really a big one here. But it's like you put a lot of creative effort, time, energy, and resources into something. And I think there was a lot of resisting to you resting. And because of that resistance, you didn't really go the slow game. You've sort of been pushing. And that's not to say that this has been going on for a short period of time. This could be a very long-standing issue, absolutely. But it's like, I think the big reason here why you're not feeling energized, or why you might not be feeling that passion and excitement and energy and vitality, is because of this previous refusal to go inward, to pause, to rest, and to take intentional pause, intentional rest. It's not like, this is very much the kind of rest that comes because you have an intention to come back, bigger, better, stronger. So it's that kind of rest. It's very sacred rest. And so because of that resistance, what I'm seeing is, hold on, let's actually go back into this spread. Let's go back into this spread before we do the future cards. Because here's what's interesting, what's coming out as like the highest outcome, or what we're aiming for, what we're moving toward in this whole lesson, this whole period of time, whenever this reading finds you. So on the tarot side, we have the Seven of Swords reversed. That's great. And we have the Swan reversed as well, coming out on the Oracle card side. So let's talk about the Swan first. The Swan, first of all, in Hindu mythology, is very much associated with Saraswati. And that's the goddess of language, of creativity, of artistry in general. And so with that, language aspect of it, along with the Seven of Swords reversed, which often, in that upright position, the Seven of Swords can be about lying, cheating, stealing, but in its reverse, it's almost like this confession or telling of the truth. It's like the truth coming out. So it's almost like, like there's somewhere, I almost feel like this could be about your inner voice, actually. But there's somewhere here where you have the potential to really tune in and listen to your inner voice. And admit to yourself, or maybe if this has to do with others, admit to others what you actually need right now to feel revitalized, re-energized, and to move forward with grace, to move forward with more passion, and to feel invigorated once more. And there's somewhere here where you really have the potential to actually admit that first and foremost to yourself, because the Swan is very much related to, its medicine is about having solo time and writing and, understanding what your needs actually are. And to admit first and foremost to yourself, but then also to others around you, right? This is very much a card of truth here as well, with that Seven of Swords reverse coming out. So that's kind of like the highest good, the highest outcome that we're aiming for with all of this. And so if you are feeling that present energy of a lack of vitality, a lack of inner reserve, and that inner wellspring of creativity and passion, well, what this could actually be, guiding you toward, what the benefit of all this could be, is that you have the option and potential and decision right now to go inward for a second and to ask yourself what you really need and want in your life, and to be honest with yourself and to voice that to the others around you. And I want to show you some of the other cards coming out too, because they really mirror and confirm this message for me. The next cards, I'm going to show you the next two coming out. The next two coming out are the Tiger in reverse, that's your immediate future, and the Lamb in reverse. And both have a similar but slightly new and nuanced message. For the tiger is an animal of, intuition, of the divine feminine, of, you know, there's this crescent moon on the third eye of the tigers. It's a very, very much a card of like lunar energies, of feeling a sense of ease in the shadow, in the darkness. The tiger has a very like mystical way that it walks. It represents the divine feminine energy. And it's a very passionate, strong, and very sensual animal when it's in its upright position. And when it comes out in reverse, it really points to being overstimulated, again, too much action, and not working with spirit, not working with that inner voice. And on the tarot side of this, we actually have the Three of Pentacles upright coming out. So it's almost like you have this option. You have this invitation right now to go within and work a little bit more with spirit. And spirit's going to guide you to where you need to be right now. Now, this now brings us to the lamb coming out again in reverse, but in its upright position, the lamb is very peaceful and prophetic. It's very, very, very patient. It represents quieting the outer world, going within, and actually listening. It's a card of meditation is what's really needed to come into balance. So of course you can see all of this lining up here. It's like you really are being asked to go within, to find the answers within, and to listen to that inner voice and inner guidance that comes when we become still. That is naturally always there, but we need to silence the noise, the noisy noise all around us, the chaos, the distraction. Some of these are intentional. Sometimes we just walk around and try to, we go sensation mongering to try to just engage our senses so that we don't have to be with that pain, that heartbreak that's within. But there's wisdom in that, is what spirit is saying. And you're being asked right now to really quiet the world around you. Feel safe and protected, knowing that spirit is just going to show you what needs to come to the surface. Don't be afraid of it and listen to it. And on the tarot side of this, in the same position as the lamb, which I've deemed the advice card. I know that's not typically how it works here, but I did this spread a little bit differently. But we have the world card. The world is a card of graduation, of completion, of, she's looking over her shoulder. Something is completed. There's a full circle moment here, and it's the end of the major arcana, this card. And so, with that lamb in reverse, it's almost like meditating, quieting the noise around us and leaning into the stillness within us is what's going to really bring us the closure, the completion that we're seeking right now. And the lamb, like I said, is very prophetic. And so this is a gift that can come to us, but only through stilling the noise, like I said. So what's next? So after that, we have the Earthworm card coming out on the oracle side of this. And the Earthworm also came out in reverse. This I've deemed another advice card, but I want to actually go ahead and read this one because it has an interesting message. And the Earthworm is just not necessarily an animal spirit that we're commonly familiar with, like the lion, tiger, that kind of thing. So this is from the guidebook. So Earthworm. Earthworm represents being shy, hesitant, reluctant to share inner vision. That's exactly what we were kind of pointing at earlier. And here's the description from the guidebook. We have all felt the woes of the earthworm at some point along the way. The earthworm indicates a newbie or novice working to establish confidence in a new field. Others around you may seem wise and experienced, but it's important to remember they once felt earthworm energy too. This is a reminder, not to be intimidated or lose hope. Mastery takes time, and you're on the right track. Besides, rumor has it, a beginner's mind offers the most valuable insights. Love that. So when in balance, the earthworm energy really represents being earnest, intelligent, and valuable. when out of balance, this energy can be very self-conscious and apprehensive, you know, that feeling of, I don't know enough, what good do I have to offer? And to bring into balance the kind of, again, the medicine that's going to help you bring this into balance, and what you're really being asked to do here is to speak up and to risk embarrassment, to risk being a beginner, to risk saying something silly or stupid. 2:34 on my clock as I'm looking. That's an energy of climbing the ladder step by step, of getting there step by step, and that always begins with the very bottom step of this. So there is an energy of being willing to start at the bottom, be a beginner, and speak up and learn along the way, and not be shy of not yet having all the answers and knowing all the answers. And now let's go back to the tarot side. This is very interesting because the card we have coming out for this is the Nine of Pentacles upright. Now remember that the card before that was a card of completion, the World. And so it's almost like what's going to happen, you know, after you go within and you search for those answers, is there will come an answer or some sort of prophetic wisdom that will come from being in silence. Again, that's the lamb spirit and the tiger and all the, and you know, even the crocodile and the swan. And the spider, all of them. But there will come some sort of closure, answer, next step, completion, ending of a cycle here with that World card. And after that, you will be asked in some way, shape, or form to go back out into the world alone. You know, this is a 9 card. It's a card of solitude. And it's a card of independence, specifically financial independence. But this woman has grown all this lusciousness on her own. She's standing in her garden, admiring everything that she has built. And so after this completion, we're being asked to tap into that beginner's mind. How interesting are these cards together? You know, that beginner's mind with the 9 energy, to really build up our wealth. In whatever form, you know, prosperity comes in many forms, maybe even relational prosperity, but to build it up from the roots. And after that, we have, so we have 2 more cards coming out. We have the Tarantula on the Oracle side. And aside from that sideways spider, the Tarantula is actually the only card on the Oracle side that came out upright. And so this card has a real interesting meaning for us. This is our power and our strength. And this card came out as one of the outcome cards. So the last 2 I deemed the outcome. If we are to follow the wisdom of the Lamb and the Earthworm and be a beginner again and be willing to do that. And on the tarot side, along with the Tarantula card, we have the 8 of Wands. 8 of Wands is a card of things happening quickly. But what's very interesting is that the Tarantula, as same with the spider, has 8 legs. And this card has 8 wands, and they literally look like Tarantula's legs, do they not? And so these cards are very, very much linked for me. This is a card of, although, you know, the 9 of Pentacles took time, I really feel like this is going to come to you much faster if, now this is the big one, you are to follow the Tarantula's advice and wisdom. And so I'm going to read this card to you as well, because like I said, this was the only card that actually came out upright in our spread. Everything else was in protection or resistance or reverse position, aside from the tarot cards, but I'm talking from the Oracle side of the cards. So the Tarantula, and this is an interesting message. I actually really like this card from this deck. So the Tarantula represents being at a crossroad and claiming life's purpose. Dun, dun, dun. The Tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. That's bringing us right back here, my friends, which, by the way, came out in the same position as the spider, if you recall. And the Tarantula is basically just a big spider. So it's almost like whatever happened here, whatever was crossing you, now it's amplified with that Tarantula card coming out. It grew proportionately. So the Tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's purpose or Dharma. If you recall, that's what the spider was about. So maybe someone didn't quite listen the first time. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream. Yet a voice, that's coming back to this, and that lamb, a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention. In order to find true happiness, you must choose Dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers, patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. I have angel bumps everywhere as I say that. So when imbalanced, the tarantula follows intuition. Again, that lamb, that tiger card, all of these cards actually. When out of balance, the tarantula hesitates and intellectualizes. And to bring into balance, the medicine that's recommended is daily journaling. Now, remember though, we did get this card upright. And so what I'm really seeing here is that you are actually going, that intuition, that inner voice within you is going to get to a point where it's so super loud that you're kind of gonna have to follow it. And when you do, things will speed up. And let me tell you the final card here. The final card here, we have the sea serpent coming out in reverse, and we have the 5 of Wands coming out in reverse. And let's start with the tarot side of this. The 5 of Wands in reverse is what I really like to see, because it just shows me that all the pettiness, all the kind of competition, the distraction and chaos, all those things that were keeping us from our Dharma. This is like 5 of Wands in its upright position has such a petty energy, has such a, you could see they're like all these 5 men are fighting each other. And there's like this just competition vibe. And so it's really the opposite of Dharma. Dharma is a very expansive, big energy that represents us stepping into our purpose, living our life's meaning and purpose and true higher calling. So they're very opposite energies, but what I love to see is that this is coming in reverse. And so we're laying those wands down and we're just removing the conflict and the chaos from our life in order to step into something greater. Now let's talk about the sea serpent. The sea serpent, again, there is this full circle energy, very much like the world, even like the earthworm a little bit. And this card represents actually the Sacral Chakra. So how interesting, because that has definitely been a theme here. The sea serpent represents the energy of creative expression, and I just want to, or just expression in general. And so when the fact that it's coming out in reverse, what I feel is that honestly with that 5 of Wands in reverse, the message that I'm getting here is that what you were once resistant to, the energies that ate you from the inside out, the emotional energies that you maybe felt too shy or hesitant to express or reluctant to express, once you got to this crossroad, this tarantula moment, which happened just before this, it's like everything was cleared out quickly. And because of that, you know, things, the subtle energies of that second chakra have come up now to be healed and to be revealed. And this card here, because it's in reverse, you know, even though it's in reverse, what I love is that it's a full circle, like it represents spirit as a circle, but even the serpent here is a circle. And so no matter which way it comes out, I still feel like with that 8 of Wands underneath it, kind of pushing it from the bottom, if you could see, it's almost like if you make that right decision that's right before and you step into your Dharma, that this can easily flip. So that's kind of the wheel of fortune, if you want to call it, in this reading here. It's like, which way is it going to turn? That's going to keep on turning and turning and turning. And that is kind of representing our inner emotional world that's going to keep on rumbling, if you will, from the inside out. And so this is your power card this week, or whenever you find this reading, this is your power card, because this represents following your intuition and making that choice using the inner voice within. So that was a lot, but I just want to go ahead and I want to pull one archangel for some big time support as and I want this to be about making that right decision, about following our Dharma. And this is going to be from the 22 Archangels deck by Kyle Gray. And I'm just going to ask archangels to please show us Which archangel is here supporting us? Oh, perfect. Raphael. Yeah, thank you. We needed you, Raphael. Raphael is all about healing, but also about seeing clearly. This card says clarity of vision. It says be willing to see things differently to initiate healing and experience wholeness. And that's exactly it. I feel like this tarantula, you know, one of the things that it said in the guidebook was that it will not let you make the wrong decision. You can't avoid it. Once it's there, you see it, and it will wait there until you're ready to make that decision. And I almost feel like Raphael is standing with us here and ensuring that we make this decision from a place of healing and harmony. Now, I want to go ahead and you know, the other thing with Raphael is that he can really help us to heal past wounds that might be preventing us from feeling comfortable and safe enough to go within. Past emotional wounds, absolutely. And that's stemming back really to that Three of Swords card. Raphael is hugely helpful for that. But I just want to go ahead and read this from the guidebook. It's pretty short, well, not that short, but we're going to go ahead and read it because Raphael is the archangel that's really going to help us move forward and make the right intuitive decisions with this reading. So Raphael's name means God heals, and he is the archangel who is associated with health and healing. I'm gonna skip this part. Okay, so here's the message. Spiritual vision isn't only about developing the ability to see spiritual beings or energies. It's also about developing the openness to see things from a higher perspective. Yeah. With this card, you are being encouraged to see your current situation differently. This isn't about right or wrong. It's about developing the compassion and composure to pay attention to the experiences and input of those around you and see things from a different point of view. Right now, angels of light are flying above you, inviting you to look at your world through their eyes. Be open to the idea that even if there's a part of your life that doesn't make sense currently, there are greater workings in place that will lead to understanding and contentment. If you're feeling unsettled about a situation you care deeply about, realize that the real work begins when you move beyond the limitations of your instincts and trust in the divine plan that is unfolding before you. If you have health concerns at this time, the angels are guiding you to be more open to information, feedback, and support. And guess what? The way you're going to get that information, feedback, and support is going to be through listening to that prophetic wisdom, through listening to your intuition, stilling the voices around you and listening to that inner voice, and then finally, making way to listen to Tarantula's message, which is a message that clears all of the clutter out and invites you to look at what's real and what your Dharma and your purpose and your reason truly are in order to make the next decision and the next steps. So that is the message for this reading. I hope that was helpful for you guys. I hope that resonated and that this reading brought some healing in any way, shape, or form. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.